We are so back, and we're glad you're here. Welcome to Inspired Sports, your place for clean sports talk with real inspiration. I'm Alex Pratt, alongside the Scott Jakeway.
Alex, it is Thursday night. I am so excited. Good to be here.
It is. You should be excited.
Yeah.
Your team played on Thursday Night Football, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. It was a good one up until the last 39 seconds. So,
well, let's jump right in. Scotty Jakeway, it's time for Did That Just Happen? Did
Okay.
that just happen? Here we go. Let me ask you, did the Arizona Cardinals just get bought by Popeye's Chicken? Wait, hold on. Did that not make any sense? I'm sorry. For all of our listeners, in case you didn't see Thursday Night Football, I'm going to answer this one. I'm going to answer this one real quickly. If you saw their jerseys, they were red and orange, and they had little dots on them. So it looked to me, this is my conclusion when I turned on my television, was surprised to see what they're calling a rivalry uniform. I'm not sure who their rivalry uniform is for. But it looked like, I was like, Popeye's Chicken, right? Popeye's Chicken is the new sponsor, or they bought the Arizona Cardinals, and they even had like the seasoning sprinkled on top of it. That was, I don't have a lot of analysis for this game. That was the number one takeaway I had. Scotty Jakeway, tell us what you saw.
That was your takeaway. The jerseys.
My takeaway.
Not the beautiful end zones that represented our state flags, not the cool looking cardinal on the middle of the half, and 50-yard line, not the back and forth 23-20, win it at the triple zeros field goal. None of that. Listen, yes, the jerseys are sus, as the kids say. They in my mind looked a little like a tortilla. But that's
wait, hold on. Don't they play in the stadium that looks like a burrito? Used to say Chipotle on the side. Does it still say Chipotle? You're the local.
Yeah, it doesn't say Chipotle, but it still looks like a burrito.
Man, it still looks like a burrito.
It looks sloppy in a lot of different ways for the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. Stopped on one of his routes, bobbled the ball for both interceptions for Kyler Murray. However, somehow they were still in it. Sam Darnold looked solid, but the problem all came down to the last minute and 30 seconds. The Cardinals score a touchdown thinking, hey, we're tying it up. We're going into overtime. I was really excited to see it. I'm like, hey, Cardinals are putting up a fight.
We thought the podcast was going to be delayed. Anytime we go into overtime, we're like, oh, I guess we're starting late tonight.
Literally what I thought. And then the kicker decided to fall short of the little end zone, or the new rule that you have to kick it in this little pocket. So they started on their 40-yard line, marched down the field, kick a field goal at the end of the game. It's a tough way to lose when you feel like you've clawed your way back, but it's a tough loss. It's a tough rivalry loss. Seahawks will not let us stop hearing about this because we have plenty of those fans in Arizona. So it is what it is.
The Cardinals are your new team. We've talked a lot about that this season, that the Cardinals are your new team. Yeah. You have abandoned the Dallas Cowboys. You've embraced your local team, living in the greater Phoenix area, and you're a Cardinals fan now. So I have a gift to give to you. Okay. Because I lived in Seattle for a little less than a year. And my brother let me know that when the Seahawks don't play well, the locals call them the Sea Chickens. From now on, you can call them the Sea Chickens.
There you go.
Anytime that you're referencing them, because they are apparently your rival.
Yep.
According to NFL uniform guidelines, apparently. And so that is my gift to you, Scotty Jakeway. You can call them the Sea Chickens. That is from my brother, who was born and raised in Seattle. So he's been there his whole life. Seahawks fan. He knows. So I'm just telling you,
the Sea Chickens got one up on us. So, but that was about it. I mean, it was a tough way to lose, but what are you going to do?
Can I give you one more thought about this game?
Yeah, okay. Go for it.
I said I didn't have any thoughts, but you mentioned Sam Darnold looks solid. I am just going to go ahead and get this off my chest. I am so tired of any time a mediocre quarterback who's bounced around from team to team has a half decent game. People start going, yeah, he really looks a lot like Baker Mayfield. Just Sam Darnold's out there, just him and Baker Mayfield are just having the same career trajectory, and then all of a sudden it's all Geno Smith and Sam Darnold are really looking a lot like Baker Mayfield out there, and I'm like, we've got to stop. Okay, they're not on the same career trajectory. No. Baker Mayfield was so great in Tampa, they gave him a huge contract and asked him to stay. Sam Darnold led the Vikings to 14-3, and they said, meh. How about JJ McCarthy? A completely unproven rookie, right? Oh, Geno Smith was so awesome. The Seahawks traded him to the Raiders. So you got one, and then they're like, well, the Seahawks, they went and got Sam Darnold. They really wanted Sam Darnold. They wanted him so bad that in the third round of the draft, they drafted Jalen Milroe as well, just in case Sam Darnold started acting like the Sam Darnold we all know he is. So I'm just I got to defend my boy Baker. His jersey may not be hanging behind me, but I have had enough of everyone tossing any quarterback who has 2 good weeks. I've heard Daniel Jones too. Oh, Daniel
Oh,
Jones,
oh,
just a resurgent like Baker Mayfield. And
time
that leads
out.
me
Yeah.
into our next did that just happen? Because Scotty Jakeway, I got to ask you, did Indiana Jones just show off his whip? Because my real question for you is, are Daniel Jones and the Colts for real?
Absolutely, 100%. Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts are the real deal, and let me explain why. First of all, a few episodes ago, if you rewind, I specifically said
Oh man.
that quarterbacks moving into a different scheme, a different coaching staff can always have like potential of that resurgence. And Daniel Jones is proving me absolutely correct. Daniel Jones has been one of the most accurate quarterbacks this year, sitting in the top 10 in completions when blitzed. I looked that stat up. The Colts are leading the league in rushing yards, which gives Daniel Jones a balanced plate to work with. And in the eyes of the Indiana Jones, I mean, you're the one that brought it out. He's found his treasure map. I mean,
Yeah.
he has the efficiency the Colts run game has. They're looking like not so much a fluke, but more like a playoff lock. I mean, so I know you're looking, thinking at any moment Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts are going to show their cards. I'm thinking this is the real deal. They figured it out, and they are actually going to make a playoff run. They're proving people like you wrong and people like me right. And it
You're
feels good.
right.
It
It's
feels
true.
good.
They are proving people like me wrong. You're absolutely right about that. They're proving that they can beat the terrible Dolphins and the horrible Titans. The Titans were literally the worst team in football last year, hence them having the number one overall pick. They have
They don't
beaten
make their
up on
schedule.
a soft first 3 games. You're right, they don't. That's 3 wins, but it's not going to translate to a long term division winning playoff run. Eventually, Daniel Jones is going to show you why he's Daniel Jones. Okay. No offense to the guy, other than he went to Duke. And listen, this is a football
Oh,
podcast, but you and I are both North Carolina fans. So
yeah.
I had to get that jab in there for him coming from Duke. But I just want all, because listen, you and I both personally know multiple of our listeners who are Indianapolis Colts fans. And I'm
Mhm.
not trying to rain on their parade. As a matter of fact, I brought something to hang behind me for this podcast.
I see
My
that.
my my boy, Andrew the Giant. I love Andrew the Giant. Andrew the Giant Luck right here. Guys, stop telling yourself that Daniel Jones is Andrew the Giant Luck. Andrew ain't walking through that door, okay? I'm sorry he left. It makes me sad. I mean, it was Patrick Mahomes who sent him into retirement by beating him in his last game of his career in the playoffs. But I just need you guys to know the 272 yards a game Daniel Jones is averaging ain't gonna last. His 2 total TDs a game, because he's rushing some of them in, he's throwing about one a game. It's not gonna last. His 111 cube quarterback rating, that sounds so nice,
It's beautiful.
but don't buy the mirage. It's fake, okay? That offense is being carried by Jonathan Taylor, and they have beat up on a very soft schedule. They are not a contender. They are simply a pretender. He is not Indiana Jones. He is not even Danny Dimes. He's just Daniel Jones. Just plain old Daniel Jones. There is no cape on his back.
Hater. Hater.
No, this is me bringing a dose of reality. And I don't like it, because what's going to happen is they're going to end up being at what, 7-9,
Oh, come on.
7-10. Sorry, there's 17 games now. Still in my brain, I still think of 16. They're going to end up being 7-10, and they're going to end up getting a draft pick that doesn't help them get a long-term franchise quarterback. They have been playing the quarterback carousel game for so long since Andrew Luck retired. Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Anthony Richardson, who was honestly, Anthony Richardson at this point is the biggest bust since Jamarcus Russell. And
Agreed.
so now you're trying to sell me that you guys saw something. These guys who haven't been able to figure out quarterback for 5 years and have had a different quarterback every year, you guys are trying to sell me on you saw something in Daniel Jones nobody else saw. I'm not buying it.
I'm predicting that they at least get 10 wins. I'm thinking more like 11 or 12. I think they make the playoffs in a solid fashion, and I think they make a deep playoff run. I think this is the real
Whoa,
deal.
define deep playoff run. Conference championship?
I mean, the way they've looked
Divisional
at
round?
the way they've looked in these last 3 games, I don't think that that's unheard of. I think this Daniel Jones is the quarterback for the Colts moving forward. He's going to outlast, maybe not as good, I will give, than Andrew Luck, but at least he won't retire, in just some random fashion and actually be the quarterback that they wished Andrew Luck would have been had he
They
not
will be
decided to
begging
retire.
Daniel Jones to retire at the end of the season. They will be begging him to retire. They'll be
At the
thinking,
end of this season?
why did we send Carson Wentz away? Because Carson Wentz is going to steal the job in Minnesota and lead them to the playoffs. That's more likely. Let's put that on the board.
Okay.
That's official. I think we just stumbled our way into a bet. Scotty Jakeway, you're telling me you believe the Indianapolis Colts, with Daniel Jones as their quarterback, is a more likely playoff team than the Minnesota Vikings with Carson Wentz.
Hands down,
No
without
way. I'll
question.
take the Vikings all day long. I'll take the Vikings all day long. I don't
Okay.
know if they'll choose to stay with Carson Wentz or if they're going to go back to JJ McCarthy. But if they do, mark it down. We're gonna cash that check at the end of the season here.
Let's do
Next,
it.
did that just happen? Sorry, I got a little sideways because we have
Yeah.
so many incredible fans who love us in the state of Indiana, and I love the Colts. I really do. I lived there in Indianapolis for a while, but I just had to drop a dose of reality. So there was another dose of reality dropped on another NFL team this week, and that was the San Francisco 49ers. So, Scotty Jakeway, I ask you, did Nick Bosa's ACL just tear the 49ers season apart? He's out for the year.
Unfortunately, this is what we like to call a season killer.
Ooh.
Uh, Nick Bosa was averaging 10.5 sacks per year,
Ooh.
entering into the season. I mean, he consistently was commanding double teams. I mean, the guy was why I think their offense was as efficient as they were, because the defense would give them plenty of opportunities to score because he crushed other teams. I mean, their defense gives up, I think I looked it up, nearly 60 yards more per game when he's not on the field.
Ooh.
And
I didn't know
so
that.
I mean, it's one of those, like, this isn't just like a little scratch on the car. This is like a complete engine rip out. I mean,
They totaled it.
they have totaled the car. This is not just let's put it into the shop and get it fixed. This is a sorry, blow it up, wait for the insurance payout, and buy a new vehicle, because this you're not coming back from this one.
So we're actually going to agree on this one. I'm surprised, but we're
Yeah.
going to agree. We should let the people know in case they don't know. The 49ers are 3-0. They're one of the undefeated teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
However, they're 3-0 with two of those wins coming from Mac Jones. And so when I think when you add in the Brock Purdy injury and the brewing quarterback controversy and Nick Bosa's out for the year, and I
Too much.
agree with you. I think it's too much. He's by all accounts he's former defensive player of the year. If you really want to look at it, in my opinion, he is the best player on that team. I know Christian McCaffrey's on that team. I know Trent Williams on that team. They're both probably future Hall of Famers. But at this moment, Nick Bosa is the best player on their team,
Yep.
and he's done. And
Yep.
you don't really have your starting quarterback. And
No.
you never know when Mac Jones is going to turn back into Mac Jones. So I agree
Yeah.
with you. I'm sorry, 49ers fans. Ah, man. There's too much reality being dropped on these
Yeah.
fan bases right now. Let's go to the last did that just happen, Scotty
Okay.
Jakeway,
Hit me with it.
and
Hit me with
maybe
it.
maybe we can end on a high. Maybe we can bring some positive juice to a fan base, because I've got to
Okay.
ask you, Scotty Jakeway, did Jerry Jones seriously just forget to check the schedule? Because the Packers are coming to Dallas this Sunday, and they are bringing Micah Parsons with them.
Yeah, you would think that that's something that someone of his age might forget and just, like, whatever. However, I think knowing Jerry Jones, he just got cocky. I don't think he forgot about
Uh,
it. I think he thinks that he lords over Dallas and he knows best, and no one's gonna, challenge his authority, and let's trade. We're just fine without you, Micah Parsons. We'll trade you away. And in fact, we're so cocky about it, we're gonna trade you to the Green Bay Packers, which we're gonna play, and we're gonna prove everyone in Week 4 that we're perfectly fine without you on our team. I think it's just elite Jerry Jones. I mean, this is Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones. I don't think he forgot. I really think that I think he intentionally did this so that way, in his mind, we're gonna, the Dallas Cowboys are gonna crush the Packers or whatever, and he's gonna be able to say, "See, I told you so." But I think he's speaking of a little dose of reality. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to show him exactly why they are who they are. Micah Parsons is going to have a breakout game. I wouldn't be surprised if Dak Prescott gets hurt in this game via Micah
Well,
Parsons.
Scotty Wildcard
Yeah,
Jakeway, you've predicted a lot of things on this podcast. Now you're predicting injuries.
I yeah,
That's a new level, bro.
yeah. I'm just saying, I don't wish it on anyone, but knowing how sensitive and fragile Dak Prescott is, and knowing how much of a chip that Micah Parsons has on his shoulders, I would not be surprised if he gave him something to remember, and that wouldn't
So
surprise me.
so I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. But I don't think Jerry Jones just forgot to check the schedule. I think he knew they were coming back to town, and I think Jerry Jones thrives on controversy,
Yep,
drama, revenge game for both sides.
yep,
And I think he's like, "Oh, that's great. I'm going to trade him away 4 weeks later. He's going to be back here." Jerry Jones is much smarter than we sometimes give him credit for. But he is also very impulsive. And I think he's also makes a lot of decisions out of emotions. So
yeah.
I think it's going to be a crazy game. But I would like to point out Micah Parsons has not been lighting the world on fire in Green Bay. Everyone fell in love with that first game against the Lions and they're like, oh, he had a sack and he was, he's really breaking up a lot of plays, causing a lot of pressure, had some quarterback hurries and some quarterback hits. And I'm going to be honest with you, I could not care less about the stats that they give defensive players for quarterback hurries and quarterback hits. That's like, is there ever a more failure stat than that? Hey, you almost got the sack. Hey, you kind of made him scared. Oh, he shifted to his left a little bit when you ran by him. You hurried him up. That is so arbitrary. Those stats need to go away. You either got the sack or the quarterback tried to make a throw. Now, that's like saying in basketball, there's no stat for, hey, I ran towards you with my hand raised in the air while you were shooting. I hurried you. I hurried you. That's not even a thing. So we've got to cut that out because the truth is, so far, Micah Parsons has 1.5 sacks. Over the last 2 games, he has a half sack total. And that's it. That puts him on pace this season for 8.5 sacks. And while that is a solid season, that is not a generational talent sack total, as everyone likes to keep calling Micah Parsons. And it's definitely not, Reggie White numbers. I started hearing comparisons between Micah Parsons and the legend Reggie White. And I'm like, guys, slow down. This is wild. So I don't think Jerry Jones forgot to check the schedule.
No.
I do think Micah Parsons will be extra motivated, like you said. I just think it's good TV. So
Yeah.
we said we were going to end this one up. I'm just excited to watch a revenge game
It's
in
gonna be
week
a good
4.
game.
You don't
It's gonna
usually
be a
get a
good game.
revenge game in week 4. Like, who's already that angry by week 4 that you have this conflict and revenge is on the table. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think it'll be a great game. As far as entertainment, I don't know how close it'll be. My first thought is that the Packers are going to, smack them around, honestly.
Yeah.
But then I remember the Packers lost to the Browns last week.
Yeah, they're also being investigated by, for throwing that game in I mean, have you heard that? Did you hear
No, I
that?
haven't heard that. That's not real.
No,
Is that real?
that's I mean, at least what I've read. I can't
There's
confirm
no way.
sources that there are people calling for an investigation. So I don't know, we'll see. I guess if they come out and lose to the Cowboys, we might have to talk because
There's no
there's
way.
no way you lose to the
Scotty,
Browns
you know what? He
and the
can't be Scotty
Cowboys.
Wildcard Jakeway. He's now Scotty Conspiracy Theory Jakeway.
Hey, I didn't say that I'm saying it. I'm saying that there's a lot of talk going on that how do
Well,
you lose to the I mean, here's how bad the Browns are. Browns win a game and all of a sudden people are like, "No way. No way.
that can't be
Investigation."
real.
There's
Good call.
absolutely no way. So, but here's the thing. Is going back to the trade of Micah Parsons, I
Okay.
do think it's going to shift. I think we're going to see, I think it's going to be good, clean fun. I'm excited for the game. For once in a few years, I'm actually excited to see a Cowboys game. Obviously, for the other side of the team, game, but I think it's going to be a good game, and I think we're going to see why the Packers traded for Micah Parsons, which leads me into our next segment because I feel like trades are a big deal, and we talked about this on Monday. Our next segment, I want to transition to it. A little segment we have deemed willing and dealing.
Wheelin and Dealin, baby.
Now this is pure just Alex and Scott
Absolute
talking.
speculation.
There's no like we're not reporting any breaking news. These are trades that are 110% fictional.
Listen, if
However,
Micah Parsons can get traded to the Packers, these trades can happen too.
I'm just saying this is a good clean segment. It's fun to talk what ifs. It's always like, what if that player went to this team? So, willing and dealing, Alex. I would like to hear. We're gonna each do. Let's do two trades each.
Okay.
I want to hear your first one. If you were in charge, if you had just complete free control, let me hear what player would you whip up into a trade?
So for these trades, just to lay a little groundwork, this
Yeah,
isn't like I'd really like to trade Lamar Jackson for Patrick Mahomes.
true,
I'd
true.
like to see what Patrick Mahomes looks like on the Ravens, and so it's not absurdities. It's teams that should be kind of considering, hey, maybe we need to
Yeah.
make some unload some players, get some draft capital. Our season is definitely headed the wrong way. Other teams that are saying, hey, if we can maybe fill this hole or fix this area, we could maybe be the contender that we thought we were before the season. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do a trade for my favorite team. I'm gonna do a trade for the Kansas City Chiefs,
Okay.
and that's because I believe any year that Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, you are in playoff mode. You should be operating like I saw that look on your face. You should be operating like you are going to the playoffs and you are trying to make the Super Bowl. So I would love to see the Kansas City Chiefs make a trade. And honestly, come on, everyone has been talking about it. It's been brewing for weeks. Everyone has been talking about the Kansas City Chiefs making a trade with the Miami Dolphins.
Ooh, is it
And
who I think it is?
there's a former Kansas City Chief on the Miami Dolphins. His name is
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill.
I
And if the
like this.
Kansas City Chiefs trade for Tyreek Hill, I will pull my hair out. Do not trade for Tyreek Hill.
Okay,
Listen,
I'm listening.
as badly as everyone thinks the Chiefs receivers are, they're not bad, they're just hurt. Xavier Worthy had a great end to his rookie year. Rashee Rice was leading the league and one of the leaders in the league of receiving yards the first 4 games he played at the beginning of last year.
Mhm.
Hollywood Brown would be an incredible third receiver. Tyquan Thornton has emerged and would be probably the best fourth receiver in the league. So collectively as a group, I think they would be great if they are healthy. So I don't think the Chiefs need Tyreek Hill. Plus, he's a headache. We know he's a headache in the locker room. He has personal issues, stuff that we're not even going to talk about on this podcast, but he's got stuff off the field that is a real red flag. I'm
Wow.
saying let's fix the running game. The Kansas City Chiefs need to trade I would say, a mid-round pick, third round pick, maybe conditional even, second
Okay.
round pick based on some, performance incentives. But I think they need a trade for Devon A-Chain. And I believe that if they can do that, that it would solidify the run game with some power, some pop, some
Okay.
juice, some speed. Isaiah Pacheco looks flat since his injury
Yeah,
last year.
agreed.
Kareem Hunt is cooked. Listen, if you need 1 yard, Kareem Hunt's going to get it for you.
He's your
If you
guy.
need more than 1 yard, Kareem Hunt's going to fall forward and get you 1.5 yards. That's just his range at this point. So, um, Devon A-Chain is averaging 4.9 yards per carry this year. Isaiah Pacheco is averaging 3.7. And that over the course of a game and over the course of a season, that is a huge gap. And I think the Dolphins can do this because they're 0-3 and because they have a rookie named Ollie Gordon who is off to an awesome start. So Kansas City, get your stuff together and go get a running back that can help lighten the load for Patrick Mahomes.
The whole time you set that up, I was thinking Cheetah was your man. I thought you were bringing him back home. It was going to be a coming home tour.
He can stay
Part
in South. He can keep his talents in South Beach.
Yeah, nice job. I like that reference. And so but I will say, I think it makes sense for both teams, and that's kind of the direction I went with this. Is it's got to make sense for both teams.
Right.
It's not just a one lopsided thing. And so for my first trade, I am sending. If I am the New England Patriots, I am sending Stephon Diggs to the Atlanta Falcons. Um,
Oh,
I
okay.
I I think the New England Patriots are obviously not having the year that they want. I think that they could afford to use some draft picks. So I am sending Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs admittedly is not having a great year, but I still think the
Sure.
potential is there. And so here's my thought. I'm always talking on players in different teams, putting them in the right team, right fit. My thought is New England Patriots could benefit from some draft picks. We already know the Atlanta Falcons are
Sure.
probably not going to be a great team no matter who comes their way. And so the draft picks are going to be some high draft picks. So that benefits the Patriots. And think about this, put Stephon Diggs in a new team. You got Michael Penix Jr. Or Kirk Cousins, whoever's going to be out there throwing it, and you got Bijan Robinson. Mixing Stephon Diggs and Bijan Robinson, you start to make yourself a dual threat again, and that's something that the Atlanta Falcons do not have right now. And so you give yourself a threat in wide receiver and a threat in running back. You make defenses start to pick their poison, if you will, and you start to build up. I mean, because if you're a one-dimensional team, I think that's why Michael Penix Jr. has looked the way he has, because people know that the only thing you have right now is Bijan Robinson. You add in someone that can still produce, like a Stephon Diggs, and you make yourself a dual threat. And I think you begin to see the production out of some of these guys that you really hoped you would. So
Yeah,
for me,
it's
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense because what happened to Kyle Pitts?
I mean,
Kyle Pitts has been on a downward trajectory since his
yeah,
rookie year. He was
yeah,
a top 10 pick at tight end, and he's certainly not played up to that
no,
draft spot.
yeah,
Drake London has been solid, but at what point, if he's your wide receiver one, what is he in the pecking order? 28th,
ex-
29th, 30th in the league?
yep,
I see it. I see you wheeling and dealing and trying to get another weapon there to save a rookie quarterback, Michael Penix, who just lost
yeah,
30 to nothing. The Falcons just lost 30 to nothing to the Panthers and Bryce Young. So yeah, get some weapons in there, do something to jumpstart it, because you don't want him to have a rookie season that just craters. They'll
exactly,
be in a really really rough spot. Can I
exactly.
give you my second one?
Yeah, go
Are you
for it. Hit me
ready?
with
Here
it.
comes my second one. I'm going to do this trade for a team that is suffering from serious injuries. There is
Okay.
an undefeated team in the NFC
Yep.
who is that makes them 3-0. They're had 3 of their 5 offensive linemen have been injured this year, but don't worry, this is not an offensive lineman trade. No one wants to hear about offensive linemen being traded. Um, but they've had other injuries, including to their receiving core. I am talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they have a rookie receiver who looks like he could be on track to be the rookie of the year. Emeka Egbuka looks awesome, former Ohio State wide receiver, the
Yep.
the wide receiver university.
Yep.
Um, and I'm like, okay, the Buccaneers just lost Mike Evans this last game to a hamstring injury. He had a hamstring injury last year that kept him out 3 to 4 weeks. This season, Chris Godwin hasn't even made his season debut yet. We're 3 weeks in, and they're talking about maybe this week, maybe next week. They need help with
Yeah.
weapons. Baker's
Agreed.
out there cooking. I won't make this a Baker segment, but Baker's out there cooking, but you can't just keep taking away all of his receivers, all of his talent, all of his weapons. And so my thought is, let's upgrade the tight end position. Currently they have Cade Otton, a solid run of the mill average tight end. I think they could go get David Njoku from the Browns. The Browns, who are no longer winless, they are 1-2 with that surprise
Yeah.
victory over the Packers. However, the Browns drafted Harold Fannin Jr. Did
Yeah.
you know this? That Browns team, currently the team leader in receptions, Harold Fannin Jr. The team
I did
leader
not know
in
that.
yards, Harold Fannin Jr.
Oh,
And so
wow.
they now have 2 tight ends of great talent, and certainly you can keep that, but the Browns need picks. The Browns need a quarterback solution. If you've got something you can trade away without that position as a whole taking a nosedive, then trade David Njoku away and go get a pick. I think he would be maybe a third round pick, maybe a fourth round pick, depending on where that team would be as far as the Buccaneers. If you're thinking that they're going to, make a playoff run, maybe that you give them a late third instead
Right.
of a fourth. I could see that happening. And then when Chris Godwin comes back and when Mike Evans comes back and when Emeka Egbuka keeps growing, all of a sudden you have a weapon at tight end that is a huge mismatch for defenses. And I just see it working, especially when you have a quarterback who's showing you what he can do, as he has led 3 game-winning drives with under a minute left 3 weeks in a
Yeah.
row. Baker Mayfield.
Here's the thing. I mean, I love how you fit that in, but it really is. I think the theme of this year for a lot of teams is injuries. I mean, we are
No
seeing
kidding,
a
right?
mass amount of injuries, which this is a great Wheeling and Dealing, kind of year because when you start the year with the draft thinking, okay, we've just drafted these guys
Mm,
that are going to help take us to that next level, fit the right pieces, the missing puzzle piece. But when you have injuries this early on, and all of a sudden you're just scrambling, and you're like, okay, the draft is long gone. There's no one else we can draft.
right.
Most teams' practice squads are not going to be a saving grace, other than maybe a
They're
filler
there
for
for a reason. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, they already had their shot to make the 53-man roster and they didn't cut it. So, I mean, they're there maybe to fill in for 1 week, but it's very rare you're going to find, a rough, diamond in the rough in your practice squad. So, your only choice is to go wheel and deal. And so, I like where your head's at because that's kind of the same thing I'm thinking for my second one is I think you got two teams that have already been, just blindsided by injuries. And I'm going to be talking about a 3-0 NFC team as well that has been hampered by
Really?
injuries as well. But I think the 49ers, if we just talked about their season ending because of Nick Bosa, but
Yeah,
I
you
think
just
if they
told me
have
their season was over.
yeah, so the only redeeming idea is they go out and they wheel and deal. So I think the 49ers, if they have any shot of making their 3-0 season worth it, they have to go out there and they make a trade with the Cincinnati Bengals and get Trey Hendrickson. Because
Oh.
that man, admittedly, is probably going to be the only person in my mind that could fill the shoes of Nick Bosa. In the last 3 seasons, I talked about the missing. The 49ers are gonna miss Nick Bosa's 10.5 sacks per year. But Trey Hendrickson has 12 plus sacks per year
Yeah.
in the last 3 seasons, and I think he's a perfect patch to fill in the gap for Nick Bosa because if you don't have Nick Bosa, you don't have a defense, and so the only other thing to do is go fill it in. You have Mac Jones filling in for Brock Purdy on the offense. You're just hoping that your defense. I tell my team this on the middle school: defense wins championships. The only thing that's going to save this team is a solid defense because we know the offense is kind of a run of the mill, just hack job. And so the only thing that's going to save them is a solid defense. And so if you don't have Nick Bosa, you got to go make a trade for Trey Hendrickson because that guy is going to be the one that
Yeah.
fills that hole. And I feel like if they do that, Cincinnati Bengals know their season's over. They're not winning
Yep.
anything.
Burrow's
Uh,
out for 3 months. Yeah.
you might as well go get some draft picks. You're already gonna, this
Well, and
season's
free
a
up the cap
wash. So
space. Free up the
yeah,
cap space too, right? They had an opportunity to give him an
yep,
extension in the offseason. It was a huge offseason storyline, and they just wouldn't give it to him. So
yeah,
what are you doing? You wanted him to play this year because you thought you can contend? Well, Joe Burrow's
right,
out. You're done. If you
yep,
don't trade Trey Hendrickson, he's gonna walk for nothing.
yep.
So I don't understand
In my
why
mind,
they
it's like
wouldn't make this deal.
yeah. I mean, for the Niners, it's like swapping out batteries. Hendrickson is going to keep the lights on. I mean, your lights are out with Nick Bosa being gone, so go
That's
find
a
the
good
batter.
call.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a really good call. The
yeah.
San Francisco's 3-0. We said their season's over, but it does feel like one move that would lift the whole locker room where they're like, "Hey,
Yep,
we thought like the best player on our team's gone, and now all of a sudden the best player on our team just walked in the door." And
exactly.
so I think that's an incredible idea. That could really happen. If Scotty Wildcard Jakeway lands that prediction, I'm gonna
I'm
have to give him a round of applause because that's really good. I think I like your trade better than either of mine, actually. Trey
oh,
Hendrickson to the 49ers. That needs to happen.
make it happen.
Save the season.
Yep,
And here at Inspired Sports, we have saved the very best of our podcast for the end.
that's
And
our
that
perfect
is something that
segue.
we like to call the moment of truth. Every one of our podcasts includes what we hope you enjoy as some clean sports talk, some good fun, but it also ends with a biblical devotion. We believe that we have an opportunity for all of our listeners to hear something that will inspire them, something that will encourage them, something that will challenge them. And tonight, the person bringing that biblical devotion is Scott Jakeway.
Thank you very much, Alex. I, I was putting this together, and we all love Proverbs. Proverbs, if you read your Bible at all, they always say there's one great book to start if you're struggling to figure out, getting into your word, and that's Proverbs. There's 31 of them, so you pretty much can read a Proverbs per day, and it's one of those things that when you start to read over Proverbs, there's so much wisdom, there's so much depth. And so this devotion is coming out of Proverbs 3, verse 5. It's a verse that probably many of our listeners know, pretty common scripture quoted. But I'm going to read it real quick, and it says this. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." So let me lay the foundation. This devotion is titled "The Perfect Coach." I have taken on a responsibility in the last couple of years of coaching my son's football team, and I loved it, and I've learned a lot, and I've realized that many times, if you look at any successful team, whether it be NFL, high school, college, there's one thing that they have in common, and that is a coach who sees the big picture. Players, they're on the field, they only see the chaos in front of them. They see the blitzing linebacker, they see the tricky coverage, the noise from the crowd. The speaking of the Seahawks, have famously been called the 12th man with their crowd. But the coach has a headset on, and he has the game plan, and he also has, in a lot of ways, a bird's eye view of the entire field and what's happening. And so sometimes players may not understand the call that's happening from the coach. However, if you have a good team, the players on the field trust their coach, and they realize that whatever play the coach calls, we're going to run that play because he's seeing something maybe we don't. Because we understand, when you have a good coach, when you have a perfect coach, that they know what's best. And so biblically, we have to understand that God is our coach. And the word says, "Trust the Lord with all of our heart, and lean not on our own understanding." Uh, if I'm being quite honest, as a human wrapped in flesh, that's tough, because most of us want to call our own plays. It's something we battle with on pretty much everyday basis as humans, as sinful creatures born into a sinful world. We understand that when we are faced with life and stress, worry, uncertainty, when things happen that don't go as planned, many times we want to call our own plays. We want to run life the way we see fit. We want to go out there and call our own number, if you will, if we're talking football. But God, we have to understand, any Christian that has an understanding of what this scripture really means has to come to an understanding that God is the perfect coach. He sees he sees everything that's happening before, during, and after, and that means he leads us exactly where we need to be, even if we don't understand every detail of what's happening. I'll be honest, I've faced many trials, many hardships, many temptations, many fights, many valleys, if you will, that I don't understand. God, why am I here? I'm doing everything right. I'm reading my Bible. I'm spending time in my secret place. I'm going to church. I'm tithing. I'm doing all the things that the recipe as a Christian say I should do to see success. And somehow I'm still fighting for my life, or I'm still seeing hardship at work, or whatever it might be. And sometimes we have to understand that we have to take a deep breath and lean on not our own understanding, but we have to lean on God. And we all understand that that's not always easy. Let me put it in a framework, since we're a football podcast. Let me have everyone imagine being a wide receiver. You are out there running routes, and of course you want the ball every time the quarterback has it in his hands. You hear, but then all of a sudden you hear the coach running or calling a run play, and you might be thinking to yourself, "Coach, why? Why are you calling a run play? I could smoke this corner right now. I could go out there and I could absolutely torch this defense." And you start to think, Coach has it wrong. Why is coach calling a run play? That doesn't benefit me as a wide receiver. But what we may not understand is that the coach might see something that we don't. He might see that the defense is running a different scheme. He might see that the box, if you will, is open, wide open for a running play. So, because as a wide receiver, many times you're only thinking about the route that you've been called to run, and somehow you run that route and you still don't get the ball. And you're like, I just ran the perfect route. How come I didn't get the ball? I hear it all the time. As a middle school coach, why didn't I get the ball? They start arguing with each other, going, I was wide open. And I'm like, yeah, but that wasn't the play. I didn't call your number. And they go, but why? And here's the thing. Maybe it's not even so much that the coach sees something from the defense, but maybe he's trying to set you up for a play down the road. Because we all know that once the defense thinks that there's a run play happening, all of a sudden that opens up a wide lane for a receiver for that long pass to all of a sudden do what that they've wanted to do, score a touchdown. And so sometimes we have to go through certain situations that is setting us up for success. We have to understand that sometimes we go through the valley so we can get to the hilltop. And so in life, we have to understand that God calls plays that sometimes don't make sense to us. Maybe he's closing a door and you're sitting there wondering, why did he close that door? He's redirecting us. Maybe you lost your job, or maybe you feel like the job that you thought was your dream job is not panning out, and now God's opening up a door for another job. But we understand through Proverbs 3 that we have to trust, that the word tells us to lean not on our own understanding, but to lean on the perfect coach. And so that's when trust matters. Just like a championship team has to trust the coach, has the perfect, not just that game, not just that one play in mind, but he has the entire season in mind. Sometimes God's not necessarily, we're worried about the moment, we're worried about the day, and God's saying, I'm worried about your eternity. I'm worried about where you're going to spend for the rest of your life. And so we have to realize that we are called as Christians to trust the Lord's direction no matter what, even when we can't see the bigger picture. So, the challenge I have for you tonight is I want you to ask yourself, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're watching us on YouTube, I want you to ask yourself this: where in your life are you trying to call your own plays instead of trusting God? Maybe it's your career, maybe it's your relationships, maybe it's your finances, maybe it's a difficult decision that you're facing. Are you leaning on your own understanding of the situation, or are you submitting to God's wisdom, God's will? Championship players don't freelance their own plays. That's a recipe for disaster. We see it all the time. Quarterbacks and wide receivers are not on the same page, and all of a sudden it looks sloppy, and then you start losing games. But a championship team, they trust the coach's call, even when it's not their time to be called. If we want to experience what we call in the Christian world a straight path, Proverbs promises us that we need to stop forcing our own plays in life, and we have to start listening to God's voice. So that's the challenge tonight. Stop trying to call your own plays, listen for the perfect coach's call, and I promise, even if it doesn't seem like it in the moment, eventually God will call the right play and you'll see the victory, because as I've said before, I said it a couple weeks ago, we don't fight from victory, or we don't fight for victory. We fight from victory as Christians. So the challenge is that lean on the perfect coach.
That is an incredible devotion, Scott, and I appreciate it because if
Yeah.
I were to be transparent and honest, one of the biggest struggles that I have is not leaning on my own understanding.
Mm,
And it's just because you feel like if you're not leaning on your own understanding, you're not in control.
right.
And so there's a little bit of that trust. What comes with that trust is the ability to say, okay, I'm not in control,
Hmm.
but I know who is.
Yep.
It is my God, it is my Savior, or as you referenced, the
Yep.
coach that I know is calling the plays. And so, man, that is just a great reminder that no matter what the situation we all are facing, that we can say so many times in life, we don't know what's best to do. We don't
Right.
even have the understanding. And even when we think we do, we still need to trust the Lord.
Amen.
Man, that was such a great reminder. Thank you for bringing some of the wisdom from Proverbs
Yeah.
to the podcast today. And we just want to thank all of our listeners for listening. We hope you are encouraged. We hope you are challenged. We hope we made you laugh, smile, and you had a great time listening to Inspired Sports, your place for clean sports talk with real inspiration.